tourism sector has suffered significantly as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Restrictions in movement and hard lockdown regulations were enforced in a bid to prevent the spread of the virus. Local tour operators have taken a beating with 5 months of suspended activity, and even with some relief from government, the road to recovery is going to be a bumpy one. We speak to Rachel Mahua from Off the Beaten Path to tell us about her business journey through the pandemic. Rachel, good afternoon and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Lindy. Thank you for your time too.
Well, at the time that the coronavirus outbreak hit, I understand that your business was just a year old. I mean, it must have set you back quite a bit. Tell us about how this pandemic has impacted your young business.
The pandemic has hit the business quite a bit. It's really been very difficult looking at the financial aspect of the business, in a sense that obviously we do not have tours. We did not have any tours in between, which one gets their revenue from tours. And it's been a battle of also hotels closing down, which we booked for previous tours. So now you get stuck with where lodges, some of the hotels have been impacted very badly, and you cannot receive refunds. And you've got clients that are, requesting for their refunds since tours can't happen and trips can't happen. So as a young business, financially, you do not have the finances, number one, to reimburse any of the people that were coming through for our group travels, any of the clients that had booked, due to the fact that for every trip or every tour, you have already paid the third party. So it's been very stressful and very frustrating as a young business owner to have to go through a financial crisis like that. No tours for 5 months, no operation, no means of salary, nothing whatsoever.
Rachel, I mean, were you able to access any of the relief funding which government made available, and what was your experience of that process?
I did. I was able to access the funds. The process was quite tedious in a sense that, systems would not operate properly. I think most people were trying to access the funds. Therefore, it was quite difficult in a sense that sometimes the system would crash and you'd have days of trying to submit so many documents that they required. So it was a back and forth of trying to submit documents, a back and forth of emails of saying, guys, this is what we're trying to do. But to my surprise, yes, it was eventually successful in a sense that I did receive the relief fund from the government after all that, because they changed their systems and we were updated on the new process of the system as how to go about it, which was a bit easier to complete the process, to submit all documents that were required. And yes, I did receive the relief fund.
And how long would you say that took for you to be able to access those funds?
I think it took about quite some time. If I'm not mistaken, I'll say about 2 months into the process that they announced that we would get the relief fund, because obviously the system was the problem, so we were told,
Sure.
So it did take quite some time to receive the funds. But even receiving the funds, you don't receive any notification from anybody that the funds were accessible. You've received the funds. It was just a message that you get, and you weren't even sure, is this the funds? What's happening? Is it a scam? But yes, I did receive the funds.
Well, how were you then able to survive over the past couple of months? I mean, did you find other ways to generate an income? Did you have people that you had hired in your business? How were you able to assist them during that time?
To my advantage, I could say, since I'm a young business, luckily I do not have any employees at the moment. It's just 2 staff members, which are temps. But obviously when the virus hit us, the pandemic hit us, I did not have the stress of paying someone else's salary, somebody relying on me. But what happened is during the virus, I managed to partner with a few companies. So I actually partnered with a manufacturing company that supplies toilet paper, tissue. So during the pandemic, I managed to sell toilet papers in order to be able to get access to, funds for my survival. Sure. I also managed to partner with a company that, that makes masks. So I was actually supplying corporate with like their corporate masks, their 3-ply fabric masks. And I finally launched it's called Newzroom collection, shipping clothes from Turkey, and that's my collection, my clothing collection. So it was just a matter of partnering with a few people, a few businesses in order to keep going and to survive. So that's what I've done, from selling toilet paper to fabric masks to now my clothing brand, which is Newzroom collection.
Listen, I think we've all learned that it really is a survival of the fittest, right? The more you can
100%.
diversify, the better you will do, especially when we're hit by pandemics that we're not really expecting. What have you learned from this experience? I mean, are you willing to continue your business the way it is? You've now, gone and ventured into another business. So what's the plan?
So the plan is, look, the pandemic might have hit us hard, but what I realized is you can't really put your eggs in one basket, if I can put it in that way. So for me, it was also a learning curve, because I've always wanted to, to start off, to kickstart the Newzroom collection. But because of, delaying and focusing on one business, I delayed it. But this pandemic made me kickstart it and get into it, So it's honestly been a survival of the fittest. But I learned that you have to adapt to change. You have to be flexible. You have to be innovative as an individual. And, this life is so unpredictable. But going forward, I am looking to still continue with business the way that I've been. Definitely, I love travel and tourism. Off the beaten path is like my passion, and it's my drive. So I will be continuing, and already we've started planning a few tours and hikes, looking forward to welcoming, our travelers, our hikers. So it's quite exciting that they're also excited. They've been asking about trips during the pandemic. Amazingly, some of the people have been, paying for their trips, which are, they're saying, look, we can wait till the pandemic is, lockdown is actually eased, then we are able to travel. So we're very excited and looking forward to traveling again.
Sure.